right, Justin Meccia here, host of the Flathead Home Show. We're going to do a weekly recap or a weekly market report as it relates to Flathead, Lake, and Lincoln County, our beautiful corner of Montana. And we're going to take a close look at the market trends in real estate as it pertains to residential. Okay, so for the 14th week of the year, we're discussing all closings from January 1 to April 6. Okay, and I'm also talking about the interest rate as reported close to April 6. So take a look here, friends. The first graph we're going to look at here is your trend line for the previous for this year and the previous 2 years. So 2024 represented in the teal, 25 in the yellow, and 2026 represented in the red. And you can see for the first 11 weeks or so, all three of those lines are really close to each other. However, it was right around the 12th week, we started to, in 2026, behave in a manner that was stronger than the previous year, 2025. And here with the close of the 14th week, we can see that 2026 is now operating with a pretty decent margin over the previous 2 years. I'm going to go ahead and provide this commentary. That's a good thing because arguably 2024 and 2025, while 2025 was an improvement over 24, both of those years concluded with years of regression as far as real estate sales go. We need these sales to pick up the pace a little bit more than 2024 and 2025 in order for the economy of real estate to be sustainable. And that's showing true so far in 2026. However, we have a lot of year left. So we're going to continue to report this week by week so that we can see this trend line and see what happens. However, here are the numbers specifically. So again, close of the 14th week of the year, you can see that we had 436 closed units total, residential, Flathead, Lake, and Lincoln County. And these numbers were true inside of those 436. You can see that our average closed prices are pretty high. $861 for us year to date this year versus $840 last year. However, the average is not what I like to talk about. It's the median close price. It's that center of all closed transactions that I like to call is the feels number, okay? That's what it feels like. The median close price year to date for this year, $572,500. That's what it feels like to the consumer, far more than $861. Today's customer feels like they're spending a little less. This is what this chart is showing us, a little less than this time last year. I know that we may not want to admit that because to most of us, it still all feels high because yes, 572,000 is higher than the national average. So it's going to feel by default or by start a little higher. Days on market, 148 versus this time last year, 149. That's a negligible difference. So, the story is there. It's taking about 4 months, even more, to close our listings on the marketplace today. Here's a number that I like to talk about, and not a lot of people talk about this number, the close price versus the original list price, 92%. So what that tells us is that the buyers are moving on average about 8% off of the list price. Take note, buyers, you should be able to move that price about 8% because that's the average for the year so far off the original list price versus this time last year, 9%. So you're moving them just a little bit less. However, the sellers on average are contributing about the same amount of money at the closing table to go towards your purchase. Now, sellers cannot give you down payment money. However, they can give you concessions to help you buy the rate down or pay down your closing costs or your prepaid. So in this situation, sellers have contributed so far year to date, $12,156 versus this time last year, $12,213. So sellers are behaving the same way, even though the prices are moving a little bit off of what they were on average. Now, the 30-year fix coming in similarly. So I'm just going to round them both and say they're right around 6.5% for the 30-year fix. On the graph there, you can see that. Now, I did one more thing. I took these numbers here, the 572,500, the median close, and the 610. I circled them, as you can see on this graph. The difference between these two figures, if you were to finance them using just the numbers on the screen here, 646 and 662 last year, is $241 a month. So here's the number for you, friends. Today's median price and interest rate when compared to this time last year is putting over $2,800 a year back in today's buyers' pockets. So conclusion, it's a good time still. My name is Justin Meccia. This is the Flathead Home Show Market Report coming at you every week. Take care.